Thank you so much, Reverend Bob. Please join me with palms together in Gassho. Come as you are. Awakening is important. Only awakening is important. Awaken your senses. Awaken your mind. Awaken to the Dharma. These are the words of the Buddha. Thus I have heard. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Good morning. Ohayou gozaimasu. I'm in trouble now. Welcome to our final Sunday morning service before the start of our 70th annual bazaar. Our youth ministers' assistants, Carrie Castle and Lindsay Mark, are helping to chair the College Young Buddhist Association retreat at the Mountain View Temple. The next Sunday morning service after today will be in September, and that will mark the beginning of our new Dharma school term. Today also, we have the chance to meet and welcome our new Rinban, Reverend Dennis Fujimoto, who's seated behind me. My name is Kelvin. Some of you may know that I recently returned home from Kyoto, Japan, where I was fortunate to take part in the 14-day minister preparation and training session known as Tokudo. For me, the current journey as minister's assistant began roughly 6 years ago, although the Dharma path has been lifelong. Under the guidance of Reverends Bob and Patty, Team Betsuin, and a program that was innovated by then Bishop Socho Ogui, I was able to participate in this Tokudo experience, and now the adventure begins. I say the adventure begins because Tokudo, as I have come to understand, is a beginning. It is not a goal to achieve. Tokudo, instead, is making a personal commitment to join Shinran Shonin and truly become a fellow traveler on the Dharma path. I was fortunate to have 9 fellow travelers with me from our Buddhist churches of America and Hawaii to rely upon. Chief among them was Reverend Kyo Kuwahara. He is the co-director of our Center for Buddhist Education in Berkeley. And Sensei served as mentor and translator. Upon returning to California, Kyo Sensei had 3 questions for me. And he asked, Kelvin, how did you meet the Jodo Shinshu teaching? Why did you decide to receive Tokudo ordination? And 3, how do you appreciate the training and teaching? And I paused and thought, this seemed to be more to me like admission test questions. And I thought, Sensei, isn't this a little bit late to ask? But Sensei was not asking me as a test. Sensei was asking me to share my journey to encounter the Dharma. He said that he would like to share my responses with our Honganji international newspaper. So it only seems fitting that I share some thoughts this morning and begin with some background. The term Tokudo literally translates to mean to leave home, to unattach, and to cross over from this life to the other shore. Like the Shakyamuni Buddha and our teacher Shinran Shonin before us, we would receive tonsure, or head shaving. We would receive a kesa that represents the Buddha's robes. And we would receive a homyo, or a Buddhist name. For many, the homyo may represent our personality. At the same time, the homyo may convey a personal aspiration. I received the homyo, Shaku Kenjitsu, which means to see the truth, to see things clearly, And now, this is my lifetime aspiration, to live seeing things clearly, to seek and to see the truth. Well, the day after arriving in Kyoto, our Tokudo group was invited to the 6 a.m. daily service that was conducted by our Gomonshu, Otani Koju, who is the 25th head priest and spiritual leader of our worldwide organization. Gomonshu-sama is a direct descendant of our founder Shinran Shonin, who died in the year 1263. Gomonshu shared the following words with us. He said, "In reflecting on the present circumstances of our organization, it is significantly important to consider how we can approach and reach out to persons who have never had any contact with a Buddhist temple, as well as those who are already involved with one. What is Amida's primal vow, and why does it not change when everything else is constantly changing? Because of the changing times and society, the methods for transmitting and sharing it needs to evolve and adapt according to social changes. Now is the time for our Honganji institution to utilize our collective wisdom and knowledge for considering approaches to convey the Buddha Dharma to our contemporaries today." Gomonshu-sama's words certainly seem to reflect the why of pursuing Tokudo. Hard is it to imagine that just over 1 month ago this morning, at 6 a.m., our encounter would begin on temple grounds that were dedicated in the year 1592. Sitting upon tatami mats laid out among cypress wood, beams, and pine timbers, that was truly hard to fathom. It was about that time that the how began to gel in my mind. How fortunate am I to be so well cared for by my wife Cheryl and my children Lindsay and Brandon? Why should I be so well supported by our Fujinkai, our Board of Trustees, Adult Buddhist Association, Scouting, Sports, and Dharma School programs? How did I come to encounter the Dharma, and how did I come to receive this great privilege? When I think back, my first visit to our Sacramento Datsuin happened during Obon observance in the summer of 1996. Daughter Lindsay was still an infant. Our next-door neighbor, Kathy Omoto, invited us to visit. And it was then that I would meet my first Dharma teachers, Rinban Kosho Yukawa and Reverend Bob. I will never forget how RB took the time to describe the bone dancing tradition and how Moggallana and the Ulambana Sutra related to our everyday lives. The concept of how the natural karmic connection to our ancestors' countless sacrifices, caring, and kindness could be more fully appreciated seemed so simple and easy to relate to my own life. It was this message that sparked my curiosity to explore, learn, and later join our Buddhist church Sangha. What at first seemed like chance could more appropriately be described as amazing causes and conditions. Fast forward to July 5th, 2016. And before passing through the gates of our Nishiyama Training Center in Kyoto, our group would be asked to leave behind the connections that we have with the outside world. To help us cross over, cell phones, iWatches, and tablets would be powered down and sealed in envelopes. All contact with our families and the world beyond the temple walls would effectively stop. Attachments that we commonly associate with our daily lives would be set aside. Wedding bands, wristwatches, and as Reverend Patty mentioned recently in her Dharma message, even makeup would be left behind. From that point on, unattaching ourselves would enable us to focus 100% of our attention on learning proper etiquette, correct ritual, and helping one another to appreciate the Dharma and Nembutsu teaching. If our youth advocacy retreat is known as Young Buddhist Boot Camp, then Tokudo may be accurately described as boot camp for adults. But this boot camp is on steroids. Day 1 of Tokudo would shape up something like this. 5:30 a.m., wake-up call, fold futon, dress for toban, vacuum, sweep, and clean all common areas. 6:30 a.m., briefing for services of the day. 7 a.m., morning service, Chenta Shoshinge, make a note of instructions, corrections, and properly fold all robes. 8 a.m., breakfast, make more notes, instructions, and corrections. 8:15, clean the dining hall. 9 a.m., liturgy and Pure Land history. 12 noon, lunch. 12:15, clean the dining hall. 1 p.m., liturgy and history. 5 p.m., evening service. 6 p.m., properly fold all robes. 7 p.m., dinner. 7:15, clean the dining hall. 7:30, bedtime service. 8 p.m., conduct the ritual service. 9 p.m., note instructions, corrections, and briefs for the next day's service. Properly fold all robes. 10 p.m., bath time. 11 p.m., lights out. Note to self. Day 1 is complete. 5:30 a.m. will come soon. Sound intense? Absolutely. Those of you who know me may guess that my most vivid recollections are of meal times. Not because of the flawless, delicate texture of silken tofu, properly prepared and displayed and presented for our appreciation. Not because we enjoyed perfectly balanced, plump, mouth-watering umeboshi each morning at breakfast. No, this was intense because we shared our meals in silence. We shared our meals in silence in hopes of more fully contemplating our feelings of gratitude. We learned to properly cradle each cup, each bowl, and each dish in order to maximally think upon the countless lives, plant and animal, that had been sacrificed in order to give us the energy to learn. Soon, we would find that conducting services was the easy part. Being tested, now that part was intense. Many of us found that confident chanting voices would quickly shrink to low off-key chirps when sitting across the table and desk from an examiner. On many days, the weather was 90 degrees with 90% humidity, and we could be soaked through and through by 8 a.m. At other times, we would encounter monsoon rains, lightning, and thunder. Our teachers helped us to understand that the rituals learned and conducted have transcended time, that each aspect had been shared across generations, and that our correct posture, pitch, and tempo is meant to demonstrate our mindfulness and the appreciation of our traditions. When said another way, each action, every effort, and each moment should transmit our thoughtfulness and convey our appreciation to the countless teachers who have enabled us to encounter the truth within every day of our lives. Without question, Tokudo has been one of the very best experiences of my life. Every moment was beautiful. Every sight, sound, and scent, each touch, taste, and thought of this adventure has been priceless. And being able to live in the moment, savoring each without assigning judgment, good or bad, a gift. Taking on such a journey has seemed to me the best way that I know how in order to express my appreciation to all of the wonderful teachers who have taken the time to guide me in the better understanding of our traditions and to help me to see my life more clearly. Within our Hondo, often it has been said the term gassho is a symbol of our appreciation when the words thank you are not enough. Undeniably, words cannot begin to express the depth of my gratitude at having been able to encounter our teaching from the other shore of Tokudo and learn to share the life that I have left. Please join me with palms together in gassho. Come as you are. Only awakening is important. Awaken your senses. Awaken your mind. Awaken to the Dharma so that we might live with an outlook of genuine humility and gratitude. Thus, I have heard. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda.